Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to our best chess games of all time series. So in this series we're covering the best of the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history, and today I wanted to show a really beautiful attack that was played in 1992 between the former world champion and the legend of the sport Vishy Anand against Ivan Sokolov. And we're continuing a little bit our mini saga about Vishy Anand because you have requested, after we have covered this beautiful game that Vishy Anand pulled off with the black pieces against Viswanathan, and this was probably really the Vishy Anand's immortal. But this game is not so far away from Vishy Anand's immortality, because this game is really incredible. You hear only 26 moves have been played, but you see here double attacks, decoys, deflections, king hunts, all of these beautiful tactical elements that we love to see. Of course, piece sacrifices, which is really incredible. So put your seatbelt on. This is simply, as I said, Stockfish 15 / Mikhail Tal Vishy Anand. So here Vishy pull off the first move e4. We have c5 by Sokolov, we have knight to f3, we have e6, the French Sicilian, d4. It becomes now an open Sicilian. Many times you can meet these ideas with the move d3, going into King's Indian attack, maybe with the g3 move, and then going more positional into the game. We have seen also recently a beautiful King's Indian attack gameplay by the new Stockfish version, by the new Stockfish 15 engine. So here after move d4 it becomes an open Sicilian. So of course back in the 90s here Vishy Anand was really a hungry player. He was really a dynamic player. He never would have played, of course, a closed Sicilian or something. He always played the open game. So here after move c takes d4, we have knight to d4, we have a6, which becomes now the Count Sicilian. We have knight to c3, and now after move d6 we have reached now a chevening pawn structure, which becomes now flexible pawn structure. Many times whatever you like to play, you still have opportunities to play d5, or if necessary, of course, also the move e5. We have now a4. Here Vishy is paralyzing a little bit the queen side. He's not allowing this expansion on the queen side, but there is of course a downside about this move, because probably you're not going to castle on the queen side because you have already weakened the pawn structure. So with this move, actually white is already announcing maybe a slower game, and probably white will castle kingside. So many times in the Sicilians we have seen opposite side castling games where white is castling queenside, black is castling kingside, and then who is faster on the attack will eventually win the game. But now with the move a4 we can already say that probably white is going to castle kingside. So here after move knight to f6 was played by Sokolov, we have bishop to e2, we have a knight from b to d7, and now kingside castling, knight to c5. So this still okay theory. This move can be met with f3 or bishop to f3. In my opinion, the move that Vishy played is much better. He plays bishop to f3. There's no need really to weaken the pawn structure further with the move f3. Okay, you are having really great protection of the e4, but I would like to maybe get challenged here on Darshkos with the queen on b6 and similar ideas. As I said, bishop to f3 is perfectly fine, still with opportunities to maybe play e5 and some discovered attacks maybe with the bishop. So here in the continuation, bishop to e7, normal development, g3, Vishy is trying bishop to g2, and then maybe eventually f4 if he moves maybe the king to h1 and secures the king further. So we have kingside castling, bishop to g2, queen to c7, and now bishop to e3. And okay, Vishy has a good setup here. Nothing special is going on, and already some weird things are going to happen now in the next couple of moves. So here Ivan Sokolov plays rook to b8, and he's announcing this b5 attack. He wants to expand here still on the queen side. He's trying bishop to d7, b5, at least to get some kind of an activity, because pushing the pawns now in the center would be a little bit risky, because even if you play something like e5, then of course knight to f5, knight to d5 will be weakened. You see the d5 is not possible because white has so far a great control in the center of the board. So that's why this rook to b8 makes sense, but there is a huge tactical problem about this move, rook to b8, because many times you see we have this tactical possibility. We get our bishop on f4, and both of these pieces, the queen and the rook, would be of course on the same diagonal, and the rook will be hanging. So that's why it is of course a good idea, but it has also some problems then in the continuation of the game. So we have now f4, and Vishy is announcing now again beautiful flank attack, although he has also castle kingside. As I said many times, then this flank attack is not working, but at least he's trying to create dynamics in the continuation of the game. And now comes the crucial mistake already in the game here by Ivan Sokolov. He plays now the move rook to e8. A better idea is probably maybe to play the move d5, maybe even sacrifice the pawn, or maybe h6, because there is now this threat that Vishy will pull off. But let's see now what would happen if you would not have played the move rook to e8. After d takes e5, d takes e5, of course you cannot take queen to e5, you get bishop to f4. But the cool part is after move h6 you could have at least this square for the knight, and I think this is playable. Then you could maybe pull off rook to e8, rook to d8, and then knight to f8. You could have a good defensive piece in front of the king. But after move rook to e8, this is not possible, because now you don't have any more the square h7 for the knight, and it becomes now a huge tactical problem, which of course Vishy Anand understood immediately, and from this point on he is destroying Ivan Sokolov in, as I said, a stockfish 15 way. So here after move e5 we have d takes e5, d takes e5. Now there is only one good square, knight to d7, which is a little bit too passive, and now comes the stunner of the game. So maybe you can pause the video and try to see now the beautiful move that of course Vishy Anand pulled off. It's a beautiful sharp tactic that Vishy saw immediately. And this game shows, I think, why Vishy was probably one of the best players of all times, because he saw simply this beautiful tactical ideas. And if we have followed also the game between Aronian and Vishy Anand, he saw so many beautiful attacking opportunities. So now after move knight to d7, I hope you could have find this move, because it's a beautiful rook sacrifice on f7, rook decoying the king towards the f7 square. If you don't react, of course you lost a pawn, your pawn structure is messed up. What you could do is maybe, as I said, knight to f8, but we're just playing queen to f3, and still we are on the attacking side. So Ivan Sokolov took, we have king to f7, we have now queen to h5, and there are now many things that you could do. Of course king to g8 is not working, because the rook is hanging on e8. So even if you try, I don't know, g6, then you get checkmated. Queen to h7, king to f8, and then bishop to h6 is of course a beautiful checkmate. So after move queen to h5, that's why we have king to f8. And now the problem about this tactical sequence is that the king has to stay on the f file. Now of course this other rook comes into the game. Look how Vishy is playing the game in a beautiful attacking harmony. And again, you could cover with only two pieces. You can cover with yourself with the knight, or you could cover yourself with the bishop. In the game Sokolov covered himself with the knight, but let's see now what happens if you cover yourself with the bishop. And I'm really sure that Vishy saw these tactics that I will show you now, that could have been possible, but unfortunately were not played, because this would be even much more beautiful if Sokolov would have pulled off this move, because now there is a beautiful stunner, knight to c6 attacking the rook. After b takes c6, look at this, we can play e takes f6, continuing further the pressure. After knight to f6, look at this, now bishop to c5. So you see the knight gets deflected here from this defense of the knight on c5. After bishop to c5, look at this, we can now even take out the rook. Rook gets taken here on e8, and now after knight to e8, rook to f8 would be even beautiful, a monstrous checkmate. So this would be one of the possible continuations. Of course there are even many sidelines that could have happened, but every sideline is basically winning for white. But I wanted to show this one because I think it's the most attractive one, with this beautiful queen sacrifice on e8. So as I said, after move rook to f1, Sokolov didn't cover himself with the bishop, he covered now with the knight, but unfortunately he's a little bit leaving also this knight on c5 hanging. You see now the problem about this knight on c5 square. So here we have e takes f6, so Vishy takes a piece, we have a knight, bishop to f6, and now comes a new beautiful stunning tactic. There are many good opportunities that you can play. You can also play knight to c6, here getting this knight in between and then take out the knight. This could be also a very nice shot, but here Vishy tried knight to b5, which is even more attractive. Maybe when it comes to computer evaluations it's not the best of moves, but this is still much better for white. White is still winning the game, but I like even more this choice because, as I said, it's more attractive for the eye. After move knight to b5, what to do here. Sokolov took 8 takes b5, knight to b5. Now this other knight comes into the game, and the problem is now you could do, of course, queen to b6, but just look at this. As we said, the knight on c5 becomes a tactical problem, so the king is here on dark square, so you lose the queen. So that's why after move knight to b5, we have queen to d7, and now we have queen to h7. And the fun is continuing here, because there's not so much that you can do. You can maybe try here knight to a6 to get out of the range of the bishop, but here you have this one, rook takes f6. After g takes f6, again bishop to h6 is checkmate. You can maybe cover just with the queen, but it's not changing. You can maybe try even king to e7 to escape from this idea, but it doesn't matter. Here queen to g7, you can play king to d8, now bishop to b6, and whatever you do, you can maybe try here to cover yourself with simply take, and then again it's a beautiful checkmate. So as I said, really stunning tactics. After move queen to h7, you could maybe try this one, king to f7, but now with bishop to h6, we can continue the pressure here. We can still try this rook to f6 idea, so it's not getting better here for black. So after move queen to h7, we have here a queen to e7, and now Vishy pulls off again this tactic, rook takes f6. Whatever you do, you're simply losing the game. If you try, of course, g takes f6, we have seen this tactical shot, bishop to h6 is simply winning the game. So here after move rook to f6, we have queen to f6, but now after bishop to c5, again you have only a couple of options. You can cover yourself with a rook, or you could play king to f7. If you play king to f7, then we have this one, knight to d6. Again, you have to step back. If you're getting on a dark square, then you get discovered check, and or you lose the queen. So that's why after move king to f7, instead of king to f7, we have rook to e7 by Ivan Sokolov, but now with queen to h8, king to f7, knight to d6, and in this position Ivan Sokolov resigned. Whatever you do, we have king to g6, bishop to e4 will happen, and it's simply game over. So you have to either bring the queen in between, or if you try to play your king here, then you get queen to h4, a beautiful checkmate. So stunning, really beautiful attack played by the legendary Vishy. I really enjoyed this game because it's sharp from the beginning, and you see how one mistake can cost you the whole game. Vishy pull off then many beautiful dirty tactics, really wild stuff, and I think this game really deserves to be in our list of the best chess games of all time. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. I will probably cover more Vishy Anand games from the past. I think they're really great, so we could have really fun by watching Vishy Anand's games in the future. If you want to see more attractive game like this, check out my comment chess games, the best chess games of all time series, with some more Vishy Anand, Magnus Carlsen, Garry Kasparov's game, Bobby Fischer games from the past. So it's an incredible series, I think. And if you want to see the top engines battling it out in their best chess games, check out my comment chess games played by computer series with some great games played by Stockfish, Alpha Zero, Lila Zero, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.